Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. Talked about hedges in the first segment, Holly, and if you've got hedges or trees or shrubs or bushes or vegetables, Tree Diaper can water all of them and you don't have to hook up any hoses or pipes.
Tree Diaper is a revolutionary watering system that slowly releases water around the base of any tree or plant as the soil dries. The Tree Diaper is filled with water from rain or when you water, and then it slowly releases water over 3 weeks. No more overwatering, underwatering with Tree Diaper. Every time it rains, the Tree Diaper recharges. No pipes, hoses, or electricity needed. You can water your plants and trees whether they're down by the house, down by the road, or in the back 40. Also works under mulch. Whether you're a first-time gardener or advanced, Tree Diaper will improve the way you water your plants. Made in the USA. Check out all the sizes they have available at treediaper.com. That's treediaper.com.
Bulb planting, Holly. It is fall, and that's one of the jobs outside of planting garlic. You got to plant some bulbs if you want them to come up in the spring. And the key reason for such a task in the fall is because some of these bulbs have to have what is called chill hours, much like garlic. In order for them to do what they need to do that nature has designated them, they have to be in the ground and they have to get so many chilled hours in order to produce correctly, much like fruit trees. They have to have so many cold hours or chill hours on certain fruit trees. Some need more, some need less. So we want to plant bulbs, but not all bulbs are created correctly. The right way, there's some that you can plant in the spring, Holly, but we're going to talk about the ones you plant in the fall. And there is a right way to plant a fall bulb.
Absolutely. So the biggest thing
We're too excited about fall bulbs, Holly.
Apparently. Make sure you do choose a spot with at least 6 hours of sunlight. So, and we're not talking about like mid-summer sunlight. We're talking about like spring.
Before the leaves come in.
Yeah. Because certain things like certain daffodils, you want to make sure that it's ready to go.
Well, whenever you see the daffodils, you know that spring and the warmth is not too far away. Those are the first things. They'll pop up and then they all will, you think, oh, great, spring's here. And then you get another blizzard and, but that's a sign that the worst of the winter is over, is those daffodils popping up.
You hope so. So yeah, definitely. And then you want to make sure that you're not planting them like right after, if we get a fall rain. Right. Not immediately after that, because you don't want them to rot in the soil. Mm-hmm. So say it was going to rain here, I don't know, Tuesday. I wouldn't want to plant them Wednesday. Say we got a good rain on Tuesday. Uh-huh. I wouldn't want to plant them Wednesday. I would wait probably till like Thursday or Friday.
So you want the soil to be damp to essentially get the bulb to lock itself in the soil, get a little foundation, a little root development, but then go into dormancy. The soil will be chilled enough to where it will lock itself, the roots will grasp onto the soil, and then it'll just sit there until spring comes for it to pop up. Now, you can do these in containers, and we've all seen these images where it's a 4-foot tall, a 3-foot tall terracotta pot, and they've got 4 or 5 different types of bulb because they've layered them at the different increments of when they're going to come up and when they're going to bloom. You can do that, and we all see these at the store in the spring that, you pay $15 for one bulb that is in this little wash pail, and 2 days later it's dead because, it can't handle what you put in it. So put them in the ground. It's one of them things. The bulbs will last for generations, for years, decades, based on where you plant them and how, if you need to maintain them. Some of them, you just let them go like daffodils. They'll grow for years.
Right. The other thing you want to do is just make sure you do remove the weeds where you're going to plant, loosen the soil up, make sure maybe if you need to add some compost or amend the soil with some sand. If you have clay soil, you want some drainage, kind of assess that the best way. But the other important thing is that you want to buy them at the right time.
Yes.
A lot of these garden centers will just put stuff out as they get it.
Well, it's happy 4th of July and July 7th. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. We've got Christmas stuff out, and we've seen, that type of thing.
Well, if it's like a home design store.
Somebody that is not 100% focused on garden stuff. That is just part of their little niche. It's not a garden center.
Right, exactly. Or just, even at some big box stores, because they know people plan ahead. they might be
Well,
selling.
I
stuff
think,
like that.
and nobody's proven this, and nobody will prove this to me. And maybe if you're listening and you work at one of these big box stores and you have some understanding, maybe you can confirm or deny this. I think there's a certain amount of put it on the shelf, they'll buy it, it'll die, they'll come back and buy another one, and we'll get twice the sale out of one person.
It could be, and also maybe they just don't have storage.
Yes.
Or, the college kids are working and they know the college kids are going to be there, but then they know that once kids go back to school, maybe not, and they have the labor. So anyway, if you do buy them early, you want to make sure that they don't have, when you feel the bulb, that they're firm and plump and not like sunken in or moldy or rotty.
Right, soft.
Yeah.
You want to buy these when you are intending to plant them. You don't want to buy them 2 or 3 months in advance either.
Right. If you feel the need to for whatever reason,
but
make
also
sure you're getting something that's
buying
quality.
them at the last minute, they're wanting to get rid of these. So there might be some sales if you wait until later on or close to the deadline to get them inside or get them in the ground. Plant at the right time. It differs from climate, from zone to zone. No matter where you live, there's a few ways to judge whether or not it's the right time to plant your fall bulbs. In general, try to plant them when the nighttime temperatures are 40 to 50 degrees and approximately 6 weeks before you expect the ground to freeze. So based on where you're at, some places that certain bulbs are not going to do well, and other places, the ground's already frozen. So keep that in mind. And if you do have bulbs that you do not get in the ground because of, I forgot, or, hey, I found these, now it's January and I didn't get them planted, you can try to manipulate some of the chilled hours by putting them in the freezer and then putting them in the ground as soon as the ground can be chiseled. That should allow you to at least get something out of the bulb rather than them just drying up in the garage, in the shed, in the house, and you've wasted time and money and didn't get anything out of them.
Absolutely. Yes, you want to make sure you're planting the right bulbs. You want to make sure they're good for your zone. There's certain, I know like here in Wisconsin where we are and the upper Midwest, crocuses will grow, but then there's certain areas that they won't grow because of the climate or whatever. So there's that. And then you want to wait for the spring to fertilize. This is important because if you don't need to fertilize them in the fall, then don't spend the time or money doing it.
But also, if you fertilize in the fall, that plant may take that up and go, hey, it's time to grow. And then you've got a plant or a flower that is piercing through the soil, and the snow's coming, and it's going to probably not make the winter. So something to keep in mind.
I think that if you have the space for them,
Yes.
and you have the time, patience, whatever, I think you should do it. I know we don't have any bulbs that we planted ourselves, but our neighbor did, and it's really nice to have those bulbs come up.
Well, bulbs are one of these things, and again, it's only a couple of days to a couple of weeks of the flower blooming.
But if you plant a variety,
Right. And if you have a hillside or something in that manner that is difficult for you to maintain in any other way, planting a variety of mosh posh of bulbs that will illuminate at the different or bloom at the different portions of the spring can allow some nice things to happen in that area otherwise that is vacant or very difficult to maintain.
Absolutely. I agree. And it is nice when you're driving and you see on a hillside somewhere there's a bunch of daffodils.
Well, we see this along the interstate next to overpasses, that whether this was intentional or just accidental, that there is several hundred daffodils or other flowers that have popped that will bloom at certain times of the year.
Right. And it looks nice and it's pretty. And also it gives you something to look forward to when you see those crocuses or daffodils or irises springing out of the ground. You're like, it's going to be spring soon. We're going to have some warmth, and it's a positive.
We made it through another winter.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of nighttime getting colder and the daytimes getting the daylight getting shorter, the length is still 24 hours, and the kids are back in school, and the lawn still needs a little help before that winter hits. Holly.
Yeah, just because it's officially in the depths of fall, we don't want to forget about our yards and those Japanese beetles. They may be gone, but they're not too far. Not only did they feast on your roses and berries this summer, they laid eggs in your turf so they can start again next year. You can take a stand with Phylum's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT granule that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. You just add the granule with a spreader, irrigate it into the soil, and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job.
Not only is Grub Gone easy to use, but is the only non-chemical choice that effectively controls grubs. And the best part about it is non-toxic to beneficial insects like butterflies, bees, and certain those good insects that pollinate your flowers and your vegetables, so you don't have to worry about having any toxicity taken back to their homes and killing the hive or the colony. You can find Grub Gone at beetlegone.com. Grub Gone at beetlegone.com, and use coupon code GardenTalk10 to save 10% off your order at beetlegone.com to get your Grub Gone.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.